Should kids be blamed for their actions? Like, let's really talk about this. Like, let's really get serious about this. And once again, like I said, I know a lot of people's not going to come across this. I have a good another, I would say, really 30 minutes now. It's about to be 9 o'clock. Um, um, this was a topic that we was talking about last night for a good minute. Like, I'm sitting here talking to somebody, and we was talking about the kids' actions and their responsibilities and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to figure this out, right? We all have, I don't know how many of y'all teach this to y'all kids, right? All of us have, every one of our actions, how can I say it? Yeah, every one of our actions have consequences, right? And we all teach this to our kids, right? But you know what I think is messed up, right? How I sit here and watch the people do certain things, right? And think that it's cool, think it's fun when they doing it at that moment, right? But when a child sit here and imitate exactly what you did, they gotta be reprimanded. They gotta be punished. They gotta be this. They gotta be that. It's their fault. Who else can you blame? But has anybody taken the time to sit back and really think like they follow what we do? They actually do what we do. They're sponges. Everything they see and like everything they see us do, they absorb. Everything we do, they watch and they copy and they learn. They follow. But yet you still got a lot. Like this was a whole argument that I had with somebody yesterday because I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, but aren't the parents to blame too half the time? Because when these kids are born, they're not born knowing how to lie, cheat, and steal. They're not born knowing half the things that they do now when they're grown. That's something that they learn, right? It's a learning process, right? So who teaches them that? Like, let's fall back. Let's take the time sometimes to really think. Should we sit here, right? And when our child makes their first mistake, do we whoop they ask for it, or do we sit here and have a conversation with them, talk to them, and let them know where they went wrong? I was told that we're supposed to sit here, talk to them, and let them know where they're wrong before we sit here and whoop an ass. But see, a lot of problems with parents nowadays, they'll sit here and they'll yell at a child, they'll scream at a child before they listen to a child, right? I've had people be like, "Oh, but you scream." No, let's get it straight. Even my two oldest kids would sit here and tell you themselves. Like it took them a minute to understand, like, nah, I could tell you, I could show you when I'm screaming, when I'm yelling. There's a big difference between screaming and yelling. And they'll sit here and tell you themselves that in the beginning they thought, I'm like, nah, I'm like, listen to who I'm talking to. There's a big difference when my actions change. Like when I'm yelling, you'll know when I'm yelling. When I'm mad, you know when I'm mad. But right, my two kids know that. But how many kids out here? There's probably a lot of parents out here whose kids do know that. There's no probably there is, but there's probably a lot of kids out here that they don't know that. Their parents don't tell them this. You see where I'm coming from? So when my kid and your kid gets together, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to start playing around, doing things that they've seen each other, teaching each other, talking to each other. Oh, let's try to do this. Oh, come on, let's do this. I seen this. I seen my mom do this. I seen my dad do this. I seen my brother do this. I seen my cousin do this. And they're gonna try. They're gonna experiment. Regardless, we was there. Y'all forgot when we was kids. Like I don't get tired of saying this over and over and over again. Yes, kids should be responsible for their actions, but in order for them to be responsible for their actions, guess what? We have to teach them the responsibility because there is a consequence for every one of their actions. But which action is bad enough for there to be a consequence? We have to show them because see, telling them is not just enough. Because I've peeped it. Even with my own kids, I've said it before. Listen, I've learned. It took me a while to understand that I was never the teacher. My kids were. I was the student. I'm learning. And as I go, I'm still learning with my kids. I'm learning. So this whole, oh, you're the teacher, they're the student. No, we're supposed to teach them, yes, responsibility, honesty, morals, respect. how to clean, how to, change the oil in your car, how to cook, how to do all that. You see where I'm coming from? It doesn't just end there though. And a lot of parents are failing in that aspect when it comes to our kids. Some kids know that there's consequences to their actions, but other kids don't. A lot of us don't take the time to sit here and talk to our kids enough for them to understand what's going on around them. A lot of us still don't even understand what the hell is going on around us. And we're still learning too. How do we expect them to understand half the stuff we still learning ourselves? And a lot of us do know a lot, but we don't want to pass it on. We don't want to teach it to our kids. See, it took me a while to really understand a lot of shit. It also took me a while that I had to sit down and listen to my kids, listen to them, listen to what they're saying. The same way that I wanted my parents to listen to what I was saying and understand where I was coming from. And that's the problem with a lot of adults nowadays. They don't listen. They don't take the time to listen. They hear you. They hear you. But they don't take the time to listen to each other, to the kids, or to what's happening. They may hear what's going on. They may hear what you're saying. It's two different things. See,